Get ready to come out here and kick some ass. Ladies and gentlemen, make some noise for the legend, the icon, the Rock and Roll Hall of Famer, a founding member of KISS, Ace fucking Frehley! We've been celebrating the history of KISS all week on this show for the most part, and we are going to do that a little bit more now, but also talk about new music because Ace just dropped brand new music Tuesday, I think it was. Yeah, Tuesday. Great sounding new song, 10,000 Volts, from the coming album of the same name. And joining us to talk a little bit about it right now is the one and only Ace Frehley. How are you, buddy?
Hey, thanks so much for having me on. It's been a crazy 2 days. You know, I've been looking at the. Hello?
Yeah, I got you. Go ahead. I'm listening.
Yeah, I've been. I was looking at. I'm hearing shit in the background. What is that?
It's not on my end. You sound good on my end.
Okay. Let me try. No, it's still there. I'm going to have to call you back.
All right,
like another conversation I'm hearing.
All right, try to maybe get a bad line. Try us back.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye. Is that better?
Yeah.
All right. Maybe you just got some interference from outer space.
Yeah, it's, people from Gendel are trying to contact me to congratulate me on my new single.
That's what I just said. That's what I just said. But congratulations, man. It's I told you, I texted you last night because I know before you came on to talk about it, you wanted to get a feel for the reaction with the video and the song being out. And I got to tell you, and I'm not just saying it, I mean, everybody I've talked to has said nothing but positives. You had sent me songs a while ago, so I knew what was coming. But now that the public has heard it and the response has been so great, that's gotta feel great, I would think.
I am completely beside myself because the song has been out only 2 days, and I have over 2,000 comments on YouTube and 193,000 views in a 2-day period.
And of course, today, that's what the music business is all based on, those kind of numbers. Of course, when you started and when I started, it was about selling records and all that sort of thing. And that's still a small part of it. But yeah, having people click and listen and watch is really what it all comes down to these days.
Yeah, I remember having to go to radio stations.
So yeah, man, the response has been great. Tell me about the history of the song, because it's the title track to the new album. It's the lead song. Is this a brand new song? Did you have this knocking around? What are the origins of the song?
Well, 10,000 Volts was written. You know, I'm still hearing this fucking echo.
I don't know what it is.
Of my own voice. I don't know if it's your system. But, I'll try to work around it.
Yeah, I don't know. You sound great over the air, Ace. I don't know why it's coming back to you like that.
You sound great. I sound great, but then there's some noise following when I speak.
AJ, just double check the board, the phone, make sure nothing's popped in that shouldn't be or anything.
Yeah, everything's all routed.
Yeah, no, that was just him. He's checked. He said everything looks fine on our end. I don't know why it's happening.
Test 1 2. Test 1 2. See, there's an echo, but it's not as loud as my voice. I can probably live with it.
All right. Well, I won't keep you too long if that's bothering you. But yeah, what did you want to say about?
I'll live with it.
So the history of the song.
The history of the song, I don't know. I'm trying to remember which. It is starting to bother me. It the history of the song is I don't remember which me and Steve collaborated on so many songs. I'm not sure. All I can tell you is "Cosmic Heart" was the last song we wrote together, and "Walking on the Moon" was the first song we wrote, which was originally going to be the title of the album, but it's going to be the second single.
And when you say Steve Brown, who was really a big collaborator with you on this record, right? Steve,
Huge.
We all know Steve's an old friend. Steve's a buddy from Trickster, talented guitar player. Tell me about working with him and how that came about, Ace, because I know he co-produced the record with you and wrote a lot of the songs with you.
Me and Steve have been friends for years, but I hesitated to get with him because I didn't know him that well. You know, it was more of just a casual, hello, hi, how you doing, bada bing. But, my fiancée Laura said, you got to get together with Steve. Anyway, I called up Steve and said, why don't we get together here? And he sent me a song with completely different lyrics, but it had the "Walking on the Moon" musical riff and whatnot, and he had a line in the chorus that said "Walking on the Moon," but it wasn't the ending line. So I said, Steve, listen to me. Come to my house. Let's make this song great, but it's got to end with "Walking on the Moon," and we'll make the song around. We'll build the song around that. And I pretty much rewrote most of the lyrics, and it's going to be the second single that we're going to release in January.
Well, I'll tell you, man, the response to everything here has been great. The song, people have been digging the song, the video, everything. And I've seen you say it. I mean, this is a tall order, but you feel that this is the best record you've made since the '78 solo record?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely. And I can't say enough good things about Steve Brown. For some reason, Steve's a big fan of mine, and he told me between me and Eddie Van Halen, that's the reason he picked up the guitar. So, working with Steve, he's just so excited to work with me. And once I realized how good of a guitar player he was and songwriter, I was thrilled to have him work with me on this record. And he's also a very good engineer and engineered most of the stuff on this record.
Ace, talk about the other people that played on the record or contribute to the record, and we can dig more into the whole record when it comes out.
I don't even know all the people that played on the record. All I can tell you is towards the end, there were like 3 songs that I thought were really great, and I said, let's get Anton Fig to play drums on them. Not that the drum track wasn't bad, it just wasn't a 10.
Mm-hmm.
And as far as I'm concerned, Anton Fig's the best drummer in the world, so that's why I did so much work with him in the past. And luckily he was available, and I got him to play on 10,000 Volts and 2 other songs.
Yeah, so Steve texted me, and he told me who's on 10,000 Volts. It's you and him, obviously. It is Anton on drums, David Julian. Who's David Julian?
I don't know. Because Steve would come to my house. We'd knock out a solo. I'd knock out a lead vocal, and then he'd take it back to his studio. We'd have guys come in and do bass and whatnot and percussion. So I know Joey Caserta, who played drums.
Joey Caserta, right?
Songs, and he's a great drummer. And I know
PJ Farley.
I know Steve's bass player. What's his
PJ.
name?
PJ.
Yeah. He's a great guy and a great bass player, and he did some great bass work, especially on we tried to kind of do a tribute to John Regan, who recently passed away, because he played such a great bass line on Back Into My Arms Again, which I decided to re-record after 40 years. And I told him to, try to copy John Regan's feel, and I think he did a good job of it.
Well, yeah, so whoever David Julian is, he co-wrote the song. He has a writing credit, according to Steve, and he also played some guitars on it. And Bruno Ravel from the band Danger Danger mixed and mastered it. So that's the lineup, at least, for the song everybody knows.
Bruno's house. I remember him, and he did a fantastic job, mixing and mastering the record.
But let me ask you.
My hat to Bruno.
Let me ask you about Back Into My Arms Again, because a friend of mine, Tommy Higgins, who plays in Classic 78, he brought that up to me as well, that's an old song from, like you said, 40 years ago that you've finally recorded. Tell me about pulling that one out. And you mentioned John Regan, who we all miss and sadly passed away, and, any thoughts you may have on him?
Well, John was an amazing bass player, and unfortunately, I think my drug and alcohol use, we slowly ended up going our own ways because I don't think he could take my crazy behavior, which is pretty much true with Paul and Gene. Except they never wanted to kick me out of the band, so I had to quit.
Well, with John, of course, when I started working with you back in '87, I know John was a huge part of it, and I love John. And you're right. I mean, John,
John was a great guy.
And very much like in those crazy times, because I was with you during those times too. I mean, John was really, I've told a lot of people since he passed away, he was really a lot of the glue and holding it together, especially when you did go off the rails. He was really the stabilizing guy.
Well, what John did was pretty much a lot what John Ostrowski does. He was the one that collected the money. I hate dealing with money and receipts and paying the band and all that crap. So I let John Regan do that, and he was very good at it, and I trusted him. And for many years, that's the way we worked. He was not only my bass player, but, he did a lot of the stuff a road manager would do.
Tell me about doing that old song, though. What made you want to do that now, 40 years later, on this next record?
It happened by accident. Me. I was sitting in the Steve Brown studio, which is about 40 minutes from my house, and we were on YouTube looking at stuff that I had written, and it was a demo of Back Into My Arms Again, and Steve said, "What the hell's this?" I go, "Play it. It's a song that I wrote 40 years ago, but I've never put on record." And he listened to it, and he goes, "This is a great fucking song." I said, "Well, why don't we re-record it, And he was gung-ho and kind of pushed me into that direction as well. And it turned out great. Have you heard the new version?
No, you sent me some songs, but I don't think you sent me that one. I've heard Cherry Medicine, some of the other stuff.
I'll send it to you.
Yeah, it was. Everything I heard was great, and I'm people are going to really love this, and the reaction already to the lead track has been great. When you go out and play live, and I know you got a bunch of dates lined up, including Monsters of Rock Cruise next year, which I host every year, so I can't wait to be on the ship with you.
It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, when you go out on your upcoming gigs, are you going to work in 10,000 volts? Do you want to play a lot of this record live on your shows?
Absolutely. I think it's a must that I start getting a little more current. I read comments from my fans, and one of their biggest complaints is I put out great records, but I never played the songs live. So we're definitely going to put 10,000 volts in the set, and we're probably going to put Walking on the Moon in the set. And the third single, which is coming out, about a week before the release of the album, which is going to be released February 24th, we're going to release Cherry Medicine, which is another kick-ass killer rock tune.
Yeah, I've heard both of those.
That one.
Yeah, I did. You sent me both of those. Those were great. Talking about the set list, Ace, I know that people say that, but and I see this with a lot of bands. The problem, though, is that when you've got the Kiss catalog, which so many people want to hear, and then some of your solo stuff, and then the 78 record, there's only so much you can do. And, I'm sure, like, you did dates with Alice Cooper and stuff. I mean, anybody's going to want to lean on the best-known stuff everybody knows.
Even more songs.
Right.
So, it's hard because you want to please everybody all the time, but that's impossible.
Right. Yeah, no, it's the balancing act. I see so many artists who have big catalogs try to deal with that and try to figure out how to make that all work. So, well, and last thing on the new music, tell me about the video. Pretty much a straight up performance video, but it's your live band that people see in the video. It's Ryan and Jeremy and Scott Coogan. So those are the guys in the video.
Ladies and gentlemen, there can be only one, the legend, Mr. Ace Frehley. Give it up.
Well, I felt if I was going to do a video, I should use my touring band because that's the people, when we perform it live, those are the guys that are going to be performing it with me.
And where did you shoot the video?
Excuse me?
Where did you shoot the video?
We shot it in New Jersey in some studio. I don't know where.
Okay.
It was crazy because we got the address of one studio, and we ended up only finding out the day of the shoot that it was in a different studio. So, I didn't get there, for another hour and a half. But, somehow, some way, everything worked out. It always does with me. I'm the kind of guy that, I'll be losing a football game and, 1 minute before the clock runs out, I make a touchdown, and it always works out. That's my life story.
Well, that's good to have luck fall in your favor like that, no doubt.
You know me well enough, and
I do.
Under all sorts of adversity, I still pull it out of the hat like a rabbit.
Well, listen, man, we'll talk more about the full record when it comes out, when everybody has a chance to hear it. But congrats on the single and video being out there now and the great response to it. Obviously, I could not let you go here on a Thursday, as everybody knows. And I don't know if you timed this way with Kiss announcing these final two shows tomorrow and Saturday that they claim will be the end. Do you have any thoughts on that? I was thinking about that and saying it on the air earlier with all this stuff they're doing in New York City and so many of these images, many of them featuring you. I mean, what are your thoughts going into knowing that they allegedly are ending this weekend?
Well, to be honest, I don't really believe they're ending their touring career. How many times have they said they were going to retire? How many times have half a dozen groups said they were going to retire and still come back? Personally, I don't know what their plans are. I know Gene is planning on buying a realty company, and he wants me to go in on it with him and sell swampland in New Jersey.
Are you serious?
No, I'm kidding.
Oh. Nothing would surprise me though. That doesn't sound out of the realm of possibility for Gene.
I know, it's crazy. Because he used that joke when we did the Tom Snyder show.
Oh, all right.
I never forgot it. I thought it was funny, but Tom didn't really crack up at all or take much notice of it.
That was one of the greatest that was one of the greatest interviews in Kiss history. But you like I'm saying this before, like like do you? I know you're not a part of the band. I know you've said you're not going to be a part of these shows in any way. You're not going or anything like that. But is there anything like for you, like if this is how they're ending it, do you have any emotions about it? Do you have any feelings about it? I mean, it was your baby too. Do you have any feelings about it at all? Or are you just so disconnected from it? It's like whatever.
I'm happy I'm not involved. Last night I watched the Indianapolis show from front to back on YouTube, you know, and it got like they had 10 comments and maybe a couple of thousand views. But, you know, compared to what I'm doing right now, you can't hold a candle to it. You know, it's probably better they retire, and hopefully I won't have to listen to them put me down anymore.
So just for the record, because, you know, I still have people calling me friends, like as recently as like today, or texting me saying, Ace is definitely not going to be there. You will have no role in what goes on this weekend, right?
There is absolutely. Look, if Gene calls me up and offers me $1 million to come up and play a couple of songs, obviously I'll show up. But I really doubt that's going to happen, because pretty much Paul runs the band, and he's already made a statement that if me and Peter got up on the stage, we would mar their performance, ironically.
Have you talked to Peter at all?
Excuse me?
Have you talked to Peter at all?
No, not really. Like, you know, I spoke to him about couple of months ago about a convention for cancer. You know that thing I did down in Florida?
Yeah.
And I called him up and asked him if he would do it with me, and he didn't want to do it, and that was the last time we spoke.
So, to your knowledge, he's got nothing to do with this weekend either.
I have no idea what. I mean, as far as the last time I spoke to Peter, he mentioned he was working on a new album. You know, God bless him. I hope he finishes it and puts it out finally. It's been a long time. You know, this album took me 13 months to finish, but I'm really glad I took my time, because I think it's going to show when people listen to the songs. You know, we didn't just throw songs together. We put a lot of effort into the guitar playing and the melodies and the lyrics and the production.
Yeah, well, people will be able to hear that for sure when the full record comes out. And of course, you can hear it now with 10,000 Volts, which has been released. The single and the video is out now. Ace, one last thing, and I'll let you go. You mentioned that you watched a Kiss show last night from the current tour. What inspired you to do that? Just curiosity?
No, I was on YouTube looking to see how well my new single was being received, and you know, it's going through the roof. And then I was just curious, so I clicked on Kiss Indianapolis, and it was. I think they had 10 comments, 2,000 views or something like that. You know, and it just made me realize how karma works. You know.
When you think about this, though, again, my point about all this is whatever version of the band is ending on Saturday is ending, but you, Peter, Gene, and Paul created something that, let's be honest, what they're doing now is all about what the four of you created. It's all about the history. It's all about that original period of the band, which the four of you were huge. You made that all happen. I mean, it's got to be like I was saying this earlier on the air, like I can understand, like, there's still got to be some sort of sense of pride because what you had a hand in creating lasted 50 years and will last for long past when we're gone. So for you, there's got to be some satisfaction in that, I would think, right?
Look, I mean, you know, a lot of Kiss fans aren't the brightest people in the world. I mean, Ace fans are sharp. And, I mean, you know, it's as little as a few years ago, I used to get phone calls from people, and they would ask me for Kiss tickets. And I said, you know, I'm not playing in the band anymore. And a lot of people don't even know it. You know, it's like, you know, when I quit the band the second time, they kind of buried it and really didn't make any a big press release about it because, you know, Tommy was wearing my makeup and they kind of just wanted people to think that, you know, maybe it was still Ace Frehley. They definitely didn't make a big deal about it. I mean, you remember what happened.
Well, I told that story early on. I mean, I think it was that way early on. I think most people, I said before, I think that there's casual fans that just don't know anything and they just go with it and they go here to hear rock and roll night and see stuff blow up. And
the show.
Yeah. You
know, but now with the canned vocals and, I mean, I couldn't believe it. Paul Stanley was doing Detroit Rock City. No, he was doing Love Gun. He wrote that song. He's not even singing on the choruses.
Yeah, well,
He's
I mean, look,
like dancing around on this platform, and
there's a
it was completely bewildering to me how you could write it. That's like me performing "Shock Me" and not singing it. You know. I
on a positive.
I don't get it.
Yeah, no, look, I mean,
I don't want to get it, and I'm glad it's going to be over in a few days.
Okay, so then on a positive note, tell me this. When you look back on your contributions to Kiss, do you have a favorite album, song, period, show? Is there anything in your time in Kiss that you personally was like a highlight for you? What are your, when you look back on the band you helped create and this phenomenon you helped create, what are your personal highlights, whether it's a song, an album, a tour? What jumps out at you as the thing that you're most proud of?
What always jumps when people ask me that question, what always jumps out in my mind is the weekend we did 3 night sold-out shows at the Madison Square Garden when I was in the band. And that was one of the high points of my career. I mean, all the albums were interesting, and, you know, they wouldn't have sounded like they did without my guitar playing. And a lot of people say that my solos are almost like a song within a song.
Yes.
And, you know, I'm watching Tommy Thayer play my solos, and, you know, I don't think a lot of people realize I wrote them. But be that as it may, you know, I'm completely removed from those guys. You know, I'm doing a cruise. I got a new record. I'm going to release 3 new singles. I think they're going to be very well received. And just as they're winding down, I'm taking off.
And just to make sure that I know what you're talking about, when you said the 3 nights at Madison Square Garden, you talking back in 77?
I believe so.
Because that was my first ever concert, the 3rd night in 77. You guys did 3 nights in a row in December. But then, of course, when you
isn't that special?
Yeah, it's very special to me. But when you came back and the reunion happened in 96, you actually eclipsed that and did 4 nights at the Garden.
Now, that I don't remember. But, you know, that's because, you know, I wasn't sober.
I think I'm right on that. I'm pretty sure it was 4. But regardless, playing the Garden in those 3 shows in 77 were monumental, and that was the peak of the Kiss mania and all of that. But do you have a favorite? You don't have a favorite album? Like for me, my favorite album is Rock and Roll Over. Do you have a favorite album?
I besides my 78 solo album, I mean, probably the first album, even though when I listen to the production, I cringe. But, it's what started everything. That
Right.
and Alive are my two favorite Kiss records. Alive 1 and the first album we recorded together. Back in the early days, it was All for One or One for All. And then, once we became super famous and millionaires, we all went off in our own direction. Gene started dating Cher and Diana Ross. I was, I bought a mansion in Connecticut and built a $800,000 studio. And that was back in the 70s. So today that would have been like $2 million. But in any event, things turned out the way they were supposed to turn out. I'm healthier than I've ever been. I'm working out. I have a beautiful woman, and she always, for example, the song "Constantly Cute." I'll tell you a quick story. I was talking to Laura, and we're looking at photographs of me from the 70s through to today, and I'm saying, look how much better I looked here. I didn't have wrinkles and this and that. And she goes, forget about it. You're constantly cute. And then she kept talking. I said, stop. Don't talk anymore. Constantly Cute, that's a great song title. I called up Steve and I go, let's write a song, Constantly Cute. He came over and we knocked it off in a day or two.
You never know where song ideas are going to come from. And one other...
it's just, like I wrote Cold Gin on the subways of New York City. I was taking the detain down to rehearsal, and I got the idea for the guitar riff in my head. I got down to the rehearsal, and I played it for Paul G. and Peter, and they said, oh, that could be a great song. Let's try to develop it, And it's still one of the Kiss classics. So,
do you remember? Do you remember when you wrote? Do you remember writing "Strange Ways"?
Vaguely.
I mean, because that's such a heavy riff. I just wondered if there was any any story behind that. If that had been around in your head for a while. I know it's going back a long time, but
it was just a song I put together, a heavy riff, and I developed it. And one of my favorite guitar solos I've ever done is the one in, what was that song? Oh, the one in Strange Ways.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a real unique guitar solo. I was trying to do a solo in the control room, and I said to Eddie Kramer, let me go out and stand in front of the Marshall stack. I'll do it without headphones. Just give me a click. And I played that solo in one take, and it came out amazing.
Yeah, no, that is a classic solo. Well, listen, buddy, I don't want to hold you too long. I know you're busy. I know you got a lot going on with the song coming out and the record coming out. We'll do a whole lot more in the new year when people have a chance to hear the record. And I'm excited. I think, I'm going to see you in Vegas for my 40th coming up soon. So I believe you're making that, so I'm excited. December 11th, a week from Monday.
Yeah, I was just talking to Laura about that. We're trying to figure out whether we're going to get there early or stay late. It all depends on the interviews. I have so much. I've been doing so many interviews and working with the artists to work on the sleeve for the second single and the third single and, approving this, that, and the other thing. But we're definitely going to be there, and if you want me to get up and play a song or two, I'd be more than happy to.
Well, it's 40 years for me this year. If you remember 10 years ago from my 30th, you and Peter played in New York at the Hard Rock. So this is even going to be even bigger than that. And yeah, man, look, I'm honored you're coming, and we're going to give all the money to charity that's made that night. And, It's going to be a ton of cool artists jamming, and of course, I'd be honored if you did that. And if you do go in early, come in at least.
I'm going to know everybody there, right?
Oh yeah. There's gonna. I've not announced everyone that's going to be there, but it's going to be a really, really big night. And if you do come in early, come in a day early, at least a day early than the event, because if you do, I'm going to put a dinner together the night before. So hopefully you can come out to that with Larry.
Where, over Ronnie's?
Well, I'm not going to say because we don't want people showing up there, but we're going to figure it out.
Well, if we do it, we'll do it in the back room like we did mine.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. I'm not sure where we're going to go yet, but I'll definitely send you a text.
Yeah, well, it all depends on my schedule as far as interviews. How many? I just got off the phone with Rock Candy. I did the cover. Did an interview with a guitar player the other day. Photo sessions. I've been going crazy.
Well, good. That's a good kind of crazy, man.
It's talking to you, Ed, because you're a dear friend. And I was just telling Laura, before she left, she had to go to the city. I said, it's always great talking with Ed because I know he's never going to throw me a curveball.
Nah, man. How long we known each other? It's almost 40 years at this
30
point.
30 years plus.
35. Crazy. Totally crazy. But all good, man. Thank you so much for the time, as always.
In Vegas, and I'm probably going to stay over an extra few days because, I need to recuperate from all this insanity.
And you like to play some blackjack. There's nothing wrong with that.
Oh, I like blackjack. I like playing slots, I used to like roulette, but, it just seems like it doesn't work for me anymore. When Resorts International opened up in Atlantic City, when Atlantic City first got their gambling license, I went down to Resorts International and I won $50,000 playing roulette.
Wow.
And I don't think I'm ever going to be able to redo that because for some reason the ball seems to bounce out of the number I pick, conveniently. So that's all I'm going to say.
150, give back 500. It's like my friend, he goes to casinos. He's like, I dropped, 30 grand, 50 grand. He goes, but I got a free steak dinner. I was like, yeah, you feel better about it when you spend 50 grand for a steak is basically what you did. But, that's part of the whole thing.
Yeah. I'm not I only go to casinos, 2 or 3, 4 times a year. We hit Atlantic City a couple times a year, Vegas once or twice a year. And I just, I bring 10 or 15 grand with me that I'm going to play with, win or lose. Sometimes I walk away with more. Sometimes I walk away with less. But, that's just the way it goes. I enjoy playing, win or lose.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that's the mentality you got to have when you do it, for sure. So, all right, man. Listen.
I can't handle seeing these people like, oh God, this is my life. To me, it's just an activity that I enjoy doing occasionally.
Yeah, no doubt. Listen, man, great talking to you. Congrats on 10,000 volts, and we'll do more, of course, closer to when the record comes out. And I will see you in like a week and a half. I'll keep you posted. I'll hit you with a text with the plan.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me on. And I want to wish Kiss the very best and health, happiness. I wish them well for their 2 shows at the Garden, even though I'm not going to be there. And, there's no bad blood, it is what it is, and I hope everything goes well for them on the end of the road tour and after they've retired, which I don't know if it's really going to happen because those guys are workaholics. So, for all I know, I'll get a call from Gene in 6 months, and they'll want to put a band together with me. Who knows?
Yeah, well, those guys, I don't think you can believe any band when they do a farewell because no band's ever done it. Of course, Kiss did a farewell with you 20 years ago, so who knows? We'll see what happens after this weekend. But Thank you, man. Thanks for the time. I'll talk to you soon. All right. We'll be in touch.
All right. Great talking to you, and thanks for having me on.
Anytime, buddy. Talk to you soon. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. There he goes, the one and only. So I've talked to Ace a billion times on the air and off the air, but there's always one thing that when it ends that I just walk away just laughing at. You could take your pick. It's just funny shit. There's always one. So the last time with the whole Gene Ace ultimatum, Gene Paul ultimatum, threat, gauntlet, whatever, the 2-part back-to-back week extravaganza that people are still talking about, that I talked him off the ledge to do anything stupid there in the second part of that. But the takeaway for me on that was so Steve Brown sent me a text earlier for this song that he's promoting, 10,000 volts. And Steve gave me the rundown of who did what on the song, all the credits. So when I asked Ace who the guy was who has a co-write and has a guitar credit on the song, he didn't know it was. His name's David Julian. I don't know him, but I don't even know he's on the song. But as funny as that is coming from Ace, because it's, the space Ace, all that, he's spacey, we know that. As funny as that is, there is, and I'm not, just so you understand that why that's not that crazy, is because today the way music is made and a lot of records are made, sometimes most of the time people are not in the same room together anymore. And there's often people that contribute to songs that the main artist never even met. That's actually very, very common today in music because people do stuff remotely now. Used to be, of course, you couldn't make a record until you put everybody in a studio and mic'd them up and they were all looking at each other. And ideally, that is still the best way to make a record, in my opinion. Most artists will tell you if they can look at each other and be in a room and actually play, that is the best for chemistry, vibe, and all that. But the reality is very different with technology. Tons of people are not even in the same country sometimes, and they'll contribute tracks to a record. You may have a producer say, hey, I need a certain sort of sound here, and I know a guy that can get it. And the guy could be in another country. Is like, hey, man, here's this file. Knock out a bass track for that and send it to me. Guy sends it in. He's on the record. He's credited. That's it. That's super common. So that's why it's not crazy for him not to know who somebody was on one of his songs. But coming from Ace, it's just funny. And you look, you just heard it again as far as the Kiss stuff is concerned. He's not doing it. He's not. He said Gene calls him tomorrow and says $1 million, come show up and play a few songs. He'd do it. He's being honest that it's for the money, but I doubt that's happening. I doubt that's happening. So we'll see. Next 72 hours will tell a lot. When we get back on the air Monday, we'll probably hear from some people that went to the shows on the weekend. They'll have thoughts, recaps, whatever, and see what happens from there. But according to Ace, he didn't know anything about Peter. It seems very unlikely. And he is out as far as doing anything, but wished them well. And at the end of the interview, as you heard.